Today we're exploring the origins of what we now call transgender ideology, a term that encompasses ideas about gender identity being separate from biological sex, and the medical and social responses to gender dysphoria. We'll look at its historical roots, the notable increase in diagnoses over recent years, associated mental health statistics like suicide rates, and the broader implications for individuals experiencing gender dysphoria, as well as for society at large. This isn't about taking sides. It's about presenting evidence from various studies and sources so you can form your own views. Let's start from the beginning. The story begins in the early 20th century with Magnus Hirschfeld, a German physician and sexologist born in 1868. Hirschfeld founded the Scientific Humanitarian Committee in 1897, one of the first organizations advocating for homosexual and transgender rights. He coined terms like transvestite, which he used broadly for people who dressed or lived as the opposite sex, and argued that gender variance was a natural biological variation, not a pathology. In 1919, he established the Institute for Sexual Science in Berlin, which became a hub for research, counseling, and even some of the world's first gender-affirming surgeries, like those performed by his colleague Ludwig Levi-Lenz. For instance, Hirschfeld oversaw procedures such as mastectomies and hysterectomies for individuals seeking to align their bodies with their gender identity. His work was groundbreaking, but met with fierce opposition. In 1933, Nazis raided and burned the Institute's library, destroying decades of research. According to Britannica and historical accounts from Embryo Project at Arizona State University, Hirschfeld's ideas laid foundational concepts for viewing transgender experiences as innate rather than learned or chosen. Fast forward to the mid-20th century, where New Zealand-born psychologist John Money, working at Johns Hopkins University from the 1950s onward, advanced the notion that gender is primarily a social construct. Money, who passed away in 2006, introduced terms like gender role and gender identity in his 1955 publications. He believed that while sex is biological, gender is shaped by upbringing and environment. This idea influenced medical protocols for intersex children and later, transgender care. Money's theories were detailed in books like Man and Woman, Boy and Girl, co-authored with Anka Ehrhardt in 1972. However, his work has faced significant scrutiny, particularly for its ethical lapses, as we'll explore in a key case study. Sources like Wikipedia and Simply Psychology outline how Money's views shifted the discourse from purely biological to socio-psychological explanations. To illustrate Money's theories in action, let's delve into the detailed and heartbreaking story of David Reimer, born Bruce Reimer in 1965 in Winnipeg, Canada. Bruce and his identical twin brother Brian were healthy boys until, at 7 months old in 1966, Bruce underwent a routine circumcision for phimosis, a condition where the foreskin is too tight. Tragically, the procedure used an electrocautery device that malfunctioned, severely damaging and essentially destroying his penis. The family, devastated, sought advice from specialists and eventually consulted John Money at Johns Hopkins after seeing him on TV discussing gender reassignment. Money convinced the parents, Janet and Ron Reimer, that Bruce could be successfully raised as a girl, named Brenda, to test his theory that gender identity is malleable through nurture. Starting at 22 months, Bruce underwent surgical castration, removal of his testes, and construction of a rudimentary vulva. He was prescribed estrogen and raised with dresses, dolls, and female socialization. Money required annual visits, during which he conducted controversial genital inspections and encouraged the twins to simulate sexual acts to reinforce gender roles, practices later criticized as abusive. As documented in John Colapinto's 2000 book As Nature Made Him and BBC reports, Brenda struggled immensely. She rejected feminine toys, urinated standing up, and faced bullying at school for her masculine traits. By age 9 in 1974, she was showing signs of depression and refused further surgeries. Money's reports painted a success story, claiming Brenda was a happy girl, but this was later revealed as misleading. In 1980, at age 14, after a psychiatrist urged honesty, the parents told Brenda the truth. She immediately rejected the female identity, adopted the name David, stopped estrogen, and began testosterone therapy. David underwent phalloplasty and married in 1990, adopting his wife's children. However, the trauma lingered. He suffered from depression, job instability, and marital issues. Tragically, his twin Brian died of a schizophrenia-related overdose in 2002, and David died by suicide in 2004 at age 38. According to sources like Rolling Stone's 2025 retrospective and embryo.asu.edu, this case discredited money's extreme nurture-over-nature stance, highlighting the potential harms of forced gender assignment. Critics, including ethicists in Nursing Clio, 2023, argue money's methods violated consent and caused irreversible psychological damage, though some defend his initial intent as exploratory in an era of limited knowledge. Shifting to modern trends, diagnoses of gender dysphoria, defined by the DSM-5 as distress from incongruence between one's experienced gender and assigned sex, have increased dramatically since the 2010s. In England, a 2025 study in Archives of Disease in Childhood analyzed GP records and found a 50-fold rise in prevalence among under-18s from 2011 to 2021, from about 1 in 60,000 to 1 in 1,200, or from 0.14 to 4.4 per 10,000 incidences. Overall, diagnoses rose from 13.4 to 114 per 100,000 people, an 8.5-fold increase, as reported in The Guardian and BMJ Group. This surge was more pronounced in adolescent females, flipping the historical male-dominant ratio. In the US, similar patterns emerge. A 2022 Reuters analysis, cited by Ben Ryan's Substack, 2025, showed youth diagnoses tripling from 15,000 in 2017 to over 42,000 in 2021, with self-identification rates among teens rising from 0.7% to 1.82%. A 2021 Nature study on Swedish data noted incidence rising from 0.07 to 0.47 per 10,000 for assigned females at birth. These figures come from reputable sources like PubMed and national health databases, but critics note potential underreporting in earlier years due to stigma or overdiagnosis now amid greater awareness. Explanations for this increase include greater societal acceptance, improved access to care, and possible social influences. Researcher Lisa Littman, in her 2018 PLOS-1 study, introduced rapid onset gender dysphoria, ROGD, describing cases where adolescents, often females with no prior signs, suddenly identify as transgender amid social media exposure or peer clusters. She surveyed 256 parents from online forums, finding 83% of cases involved teens with recent friend groups identifying similarly and 62.5% with prior mental health issues. However, the study faced criticism. A 2019 PMC article by Restar argued Littman's recruitment from potentially anti-trans sites biased results toward pathologizing views, and Brown University initially removed a press release in 2019 amid concerns over methodology, though it was republished with clarifications. Littman responded in Scientific American, 2023, that her methods aligned with other parental surveys and rejected bias claims, emphasizing exploratory intent. Comorbidities add layers. Studies like a 2020 Nature Communications paper show 6 to 25% of gender dysphoric individuals have autism spectrum disorder, per Trevor Project, 2022, compared to 1 to 2% in the general population. Trauma and homosexuality also correlate. A 2023 PMC review noted higher childhood adversity rates, and historical data from DeVries et al., 2010, in PMC found overlaps with same-sex attraction. These from journals like The Lancet and Taylor and Francis suggest underlying factors may contribute to the rise, but more research is needed to disentangle causes. Gender dysphoria often co-occurs with elevated mental health risks, including suicide. Lifetime suicide attempt rates among transgender adults frequently exceed 40%, per various surveys. A landmark 2011 Swedish cohort study by Cecilia Dejny et al., published in PLOS-1 and PMC, followed 324 post-surgery trans individuals from 1973-2003 for up to 30 years. It found overall mortality 2.8 times higher than controls, with suicide rates 19.1 times higher, even after transition. Specifically, suicide mortality was 5.7 per 1,000 person-years for trans women versus 0.3 for controls. The study matched controls by birth year, sex, and other factors for robustness. Follow-ups, like a 2020 CGM analysis of a corrected Brenstrom study in American Journal of Psychiatry, confirmed no evidence that hormones or surgery reduce long-term suicide risks. The correction retracted claims of benefits post-surgery. A 2025 Harvard JLPP article notes similar high rates in US and Europe, with ideation around 30–50%. Critiques of the Behing study include that it doesn't compare pre- versus post-transition directly, and higher rates may stem from societal stigma or pre-existing conditions rather than transition itself, as Behing clarified in interviews per Beth.LGBT site. Some argue the cohort is outdated, as modern care might differ, but recent data, like a 2023 Sage Journals review, echoes persistent risks. A 2016 preventive medicine study noted trans individuals are 5 times more likely to attempt suicide, linking to victimization. Addressing these, proponents of transition cite smaller studies showing short-term mood improvements, but long-term RCTs are lacking due to ethical challenges. Overall, evidence from PubMed and NIH suggests risks remain elevated, urging holistic mental health support. For individuals pursuing medical transition, puberty blockers, hormones, surgeries, carries potential benefits and risks. Blockers like GnRH analogs pause puberty, but a 2024 JAMA network study notes side effects including bone density loss, up to 10 to 15% reduction in some cases, and potential fertility impacts. Cross-sex hormones. Estrogen for trans women increases thrombosis risk 2 to 5 times, per a 2019 Lancet study. Testosterone for trans men raises cardiovascular events. Surgeries, like phalloplasty or vaginoplasty, have complication rates of 20–50%, including infections or revisions, as per a 2023 OUP review. Regret and detransition. A 2023 CGM paper highlights rates are unknown precisely due to varying definitions, but studies like a 2022 JCM analysis found 4-year hormone continuation at 70%, implying 30% discontinuation, though not all due to regret. A 2025 JAMA Network Open study in Sweden reported legal gender reversal in just 0.09% of 11,000 cases, suggesting low permanent detransition. But critics note this misses those who detransition without legal changes. Detransitioners often cite unresolved issues like trauma, prevalent in 40–60% of cases per PMC 2021, or autism as misattributed to dysphoria. A 2023 Taylor and Francis study analyzed 16 detransitioners, finding temporary halts common. European shifts. Sweden's 2023 National Board restricted blockers hormones for under 18s except trials, citing evidence gaps per France 24. Finland's 2020 guidelines prioritize therapy over meds for youth, per CGM. UK's 2024 CAS review led to puberty blocker bans outside research, as NYT reported, due to weak evidence of benefits versus harms. France and Norway followed suit with cautions, per Politico 2023. These from health authorities emphasize psychotherapy first, acknowledging low-quality studies, many non-randomized, as a criticism. On a societal level, policies allowing self-identification impact areas like sports. In women's categories, trans women who've undergone male puberty retain advantages. A 2021 sports medicine review found 10 to 30% edge in strength speed even after testosterone suppression. Example, Leah Thomas, a trans swimmer, won NCAA titles in 2022, sparking debates, per Fair Play for Women. Policies vary. Olympics require 10 nmol/L testosterone for 12 months, but critics argue it's insufficient. Statistics. A 2023 U.S. News report notes over 20 U.S. states banned trans girls in female sports, citing fairness. HRC counters that such bans harm trans youth mental health, with no widespread dominance evidence. Trans athletes 1% of competitors. In prisons and shelters, self-ID policies raise safety concerns. A 2024 PMC study found incarcerated trans women face high victimization, up to 50% assault rates. But housing in female facilities has led to incidents. UK data from Fair Play for Women notes 7 sexual assaults by trans inmates in women's prisons, 2010-2020. Vera Institute's 2024 survey of 280 trans prisoners revealed calls for better protections, like separate units. Shelters, NCTE reports. Trans women often denied female spaces, increasing homelessness risks, 20-40% lifetime. However, critics highlight rare abuse cases where policies are exploited, per Prison Policy, 2017. Balanced views from gender justice emphasize inclusive policies with safeguards, noting lack of comprehensive stats on impacts. We've covered the historical foundations from Hirschfeld to money, the Reimer tragedy illustrating theory's limits, surging diagnoses with potential social factors, persistent suicide risks despite interventions, individual medical considerations including European cautions, and societal ripple effects in sports and protected spaces. Sources span peer-reviewed journals like PLOS One, Nature, and official reports from NHS and SEGM, each with strengths in data but potential biases in interpretation, as all research does. Whether normalization aids or complicates, the evidence invites careful thought. What do you conclude?